Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It's me, Rich, and I'm back with Sam for your Lions Raw match reaction show. This time reacting to Arsenal 2, Aston Villa 2. And as you can hear, my voice isn't the best after yesterday's antics in the ground. You may have seen a picture doing the rounds on social media, me getting involved with the crowd. My voice singing, shouting is suffering a little bit, but we're here for you anyway. Sam, how you doing, mate? Good to see you again.
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Maybe my voice is doing a little bit better than yours. I was going to say throat, but that sounded a bit sordid, so I'll go with that voice. Anyways, how was it? How was your away day, mate?
It was definitely one of the best. Definitely one of the best. It was, agony followed by ecstasy. So it was brilliant in terms of the comeback, and that's where I want to start. Obviously, good evening to everyone in the chat. We've got loads of people saying good evening, and brilliant to have you on board. Please do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We are past 5,000 subscribers, on the road to 10k. Obviously, it's a long road, but we're with you all the way. So please do like, subscribe, and keep your comments flowing. So I wanted to start with that kind of spirit and mentality and character that I think we've talked about across the board with Aston Villa, particularly in these big away games there. The performance doesn't have to be the best, but you just have to stick in and dig in and not throw it away or give it up too easily, like we may have done against the likes of Chelsea, against the likes of Newcastle. And that's what was so pleasing about yesterday. It was we stuck in there and we managed to get something out of that game, and the spirit, the resilience, the heart that was shown was something else, to be fair. And that's what we want to see. That's what we've wanted to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to sort of elaborate on that, but yeah, I mean, that's always what you want to see, even though you go 2-0 down away at one of the bigger teams. You could very much, I don't know about you or maybe any of the other fans or anyone else listening, but I didn't think it was all over at 2-0, but my head certainly dropped. And I think it'd be really easy for the players to be like, do you know what, lads, it's not our day. Especially the sort of like nature of their goals, and Martinelli's was quite scrappy, just over the line, and they were throwing a lot of crosses into the box, which Arsenal tend to do nowadays. But yeah, I think it would have been easy for our players to just maybe say it wasn't our day. Let's just damage limitations, see where we go from there. But it was very much a case of, I think they kind of spotted the vulnerability at the back for Arsenal. They weren't bulletproof. It's not that they were playing us off the park. They had a lot of the ball, but they weren't really playing us off the park. And they didn't watch them and think, geez, these lot are a lot better than us. And I think the players sort of picked up on that. And they, like you say, it shows character, it shows determination. And I don't know about you, but I think when you talk about Villa sort of like throwing it away and not having the kind of heart, I don't remember a lot of that under Unai Emery. I think we're always in with a chance, unless we're playing Newcastle. We're sort of always in with a chance. So and the players played like that yesterday, and there were a lot of variables. I'm sure we'll come on to Bogard coming on at probably unexpectedly even for him, and sort of rising to the challenge. So yeah, really good outing from the boys.
Exactly. Yeah, and look, I definitely take your point around heart and character, because there has been games, Arsenal, not Arsenal this season, Everton this season, we're 2-0 down at home, we come back to win 3-2, and there's been other games where we've been behind, away at Brentford last season and away at Bournemouth last season to come back and draw 2-2. So we've had lots of those games. I think it's more like when we're talking about Liverpool last season, we lost 3-0 we played all right this season against them and lost 2-0. Newcastle 3-0, Chelsea 3-0, although, as you said, last season we beat them. But it was just to show that kind of grit to be 2-0 down. And we saw that goal go in at 2-0, and it was like, oh, here we go. But it was almost like a switch flicked with Villa, and they went, like, I think exactly like you said there, they went, you know what, we can actually get something out of this game. Like, if we go at them and attack them, we can get something. And that was really interesting to see that they had that mentality shift, and it was really refreshing. It was really good, to be honest, and I hope they take that into future games, because they can definitely do it.
Yeah, I mean, we were the comeback kings at the start of the season, weren't we? We were conceding first early doors every game and coming back to win them after a really positive start to the season. So yeah, this league's a bit mental this year, isn't it?
It is, man. It's so crazy.
It's so crazy. You got Bournemouth doing bits. You got Newcastle, Nottingham Forest. You got Villa sort of pushing again. You got United down in 12th, 13th. You got Spurs down in 15th. The quality of the league has gone up, and that subsequently makes every game more competitive. And I think you're seeing that in a lot of games, not just in Villa games, in all games. I think it was just, everyone feels like they can get something out of any game. They can play any team. Look at Man City. What did they win? 1-11 or something in that run that they had. If people would go to Man City thinking, yeah, go on, we'll do these. Like, it's not the Premier League of old where the top fours sort of had free reign, and you're away to Arsenal or to Liverpool or Man City or whatever, and you sit 12, 11 men behind the ball and just kind of see if you might be able to sneak something on the counter. It's more calculated now, and I think teams being more competitive has been a detriment to Villa as well, because we've lost some games that are hard for us as fans today, because on paper they're games we should be winning, but in reality, I think that's sort of given us the impetus as well to go on and challenge games. And I know they've taken 4 points off us this season, but I'm starting to feel like we're becoming Arsenal's Achilles heels.
And we are a little bit.
I absolutely love that. I love that, and I hate
it's brilliant. Yeah, we'll come to them and their fans and their manager and that a bit later. But yeah. Sayer VFC says 13 points we've won from losing positions now. So as you say, mate, the comeback kings. James said he thinks if Tielemans one off the post went in, we would have won it. Now,
I agree.
I want to. Oh yeah, I mean, like I say, it was a mentality shift that was inspired, in my opinion, by Yuri Tielemans. And you were in the WhatsApp group sort of talking about him today, and he's just been phenomenal this season. And the way he drove us on yesterday in that game was just incredible. He was fantastic, wasn't he?
He's sensational, Yuri Tielemans, and not steal an old and really corny adage, but you watch the game, you might not see Tielemans, but you watch Tielemans and you see the whole game, and that's exactly.
I like that.
But the thing is, it's true. He's just so perfect at what he does, and the thing is, I said today in the group chat, I wish we had two of him, one to whack at the 10 and one to whack at the 6, because on the edge of the box, you saw it time and time again yesterday against Arsenal. Just quick feet, a turn, things that you would consider maybe risky if he didn't pull them off every single time, just to get Villa on the front foot, get Morgan Rogers on the go, get a ball out to Ollie Watkins. And he's just sensational, man. Like, considering we got him for free, and I did call this at the start of the season before a ball had been kicked and everyone was crying about Douglas Luiz, and I said, we've got the replacement. We have him right there in Yuri Tielemans. He's a sensational player, had bags of not just potential, because he'd obviously done a lot and he produced a lot in his career as well, but someone who really could take that mantle and be our most important creative midfielder. And I think he's been doing that all season. I see a lot of people asking who man of the match was. Some shouts for Buba, or for Kamara and for Bogard and stuff like that. And for me, it's got to be Yuri Tielemans. That first goal as well, the passion, the sort of the way he picked the ball up and shouted at the Villa boys to go again, and got the crowd up. You talked about how the mood changed when that first goal went in. A lot of that came from Tielemans just kind of like staring into the crowd,
100%.
and he's just, who would have thought Yuri Tielemans would have been that guy to sort of push the team on, get us going, get us fluid. So yeah, big fan of him, big fan.
Yeah, and you're right in what you're saying, because no team can really rest their laurels with him, because he can turn defense to attack so quickly, and we've said this a lot about his ability to, see the pass, do it in one or two touches, which is the criticism that I certainly had of Douglas Luiz at times, where he'd take too long on the ball. Yuri does it so quickly and he sees it so quickly. Yes, it might not come off all the time, but he sees it and he tries it, and that's the best thing about him. And then now, if you're adding in, late runs into the box, or this kind of, this new sort of element to his game, because he hadn't scored in the Premier League this season. Hopefully, he can start, to get a few goals.
Was that my second?
No, he scored in the Champions League against Young Boys.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
But he had two other shots yesterday, which was really good. So, look, if you can add that to his game as well, and to think we got him in a free transfer as well, is just crazy.
It's like, and Kamara as well.
Yeah, mate, I don't think
we paid nothing for either of them is an absolute joke. Which is why we were talking about that potential right back who's supposed to be coming in for 7 million, and I said to Gareth, I think it's almost easier to get a good player on a free rather than for 7 million, because you just, the out of contract gems, they are there, and you've got to give Gerrard credit for Kamara, because I think, maybe not in terms of scouting him, but in terms of bringing him in, I think Gerrard was a sort of big motivating factor for Kamara to come in, and Gerrard got that one over the line. So if we're going to give him credit for anything, we'll give him some praise for bringing in Kamara. But yeah, you're right. I think he's brilliant. He's one to be admired. He's kind of at that level where, I'm not particularly worried about him getting scalped by another team, or I think he's here. I think he's here to stay.
Yeah.
This moving into the 10, I don't know, and maybe another stroke of genius from Unai Emery, but it's he was just brilliant yesterday. And I think he was the main reason why we managed to push on and get a result from coming 2-0 down.
Absolutely. Hans Dressler says Tielemans showed real bravery as well, with his goal properly leading by example. Absolutely. Absolutely so. And Stephen said Yuri is why the Douglas Luiz talk is unnecessary. 100%. 100%. The Duff Meister says Kamara, the only thing I can remember of any positive note from the Gerrard era. And Dristas says the only thing I want from Yuri is to do is step inside the box on a few more occasions, just like yesterday. He would contribute a couple more goals. Yeah, absolutely agreed. Now, you mentioned him playing in that number 10 position, and we lost Amadou Onana in the first half yesterday to injury, and it could have been conceivable that Yuri Tielemans drops back into that midfield position and he brings someone else on, a Leon Bailey or someone like that. But he pretty much surprised everyone, Unai Emery, in bringing on Lamar Bogard, and already in the chat, people saying, how well he did. And I mean, he stepped in pretty seamlessly, and I don't know, mate, whether it was a good opportunity, the right sort of match and opportunity in terms of the battle that was needed, the defending that was needed. But, he was getting on the ball as well. He was the one who sprayed the ball out to Luca Dean for the goal at 2-1, and absolutely looked, totally at home in that position. It was a really, really mature performance from him.
Yeah, and I'd love for everyone to whack into the chat what noise they made when they saw Bogart coming on.
I bet.
Anyone now who's saying, "Oh yeah, it was a great call. I knew he was going to do it." Shut your mouth. And this is a perfect example of how a player can come on and do really well and and surprise everyone. I mean, look, we've seen Bogart a lot at centre back and right back. I think he's like a CDM. I think that was his position before, and he's one of those utility players. Or we were trying to make him into a utility player who was playing right back and centre back, and it wasn't really his area, but. He did really well. He did really well yesterday. There were a couple of moments where you could see his nerves. I think a game of that magnitude. I think that the biggest one for me was when the ball was sort of like set back for him, and he went in and had that shot. That was right at Raya, but it sort of went under his arm a little bit. It wasn't a bad shot at all. he didn't catch it like the best. I don't think he could have got a
No.
bit power, a bit more whip. He put it sort of right in the middle of the goal. But you could see he took a half step as the ball came out. He was like, "Oh crap, is this me?"
I know. He's like,
like,
he's passed it back to me. Like, why hasn't Leon put it across the box?
For a second, it's almost like he forgot he was in the game, like he was watching from the side. And I think, there were always going to be moments like that because he's not inexperienced. He's played Premier League games for Villa before, but a game of that size and probably when he wasn't expecting to come on and to come in that position is a big ask, and he very, very easily could have folded under that pressure. And if I remember correctly, that the first goal, the ball out to Luca Dean was from Bogard in the middle. And it's actually a really smart, confident piece of play. He's pinged it diagonally about 20 yards. It's not the hardest pass in the world to complete, but it's a very easy one to get wrong. And he puts it on Dini's toe, gives him loads of time to pick out his man, get a brilliant cross in, and stuff like that is that's commendable. And it's I don't want to be condescending to him. He's a professional footballer who plays for Aston Villa, so you expect him to have a bit about him. But I think everyone was pleasantly surprised at what a mature performance he put in, and I'm really happy for him. Man. Like anyone who wears a Villa shirt, I want him to do well. And there's no reason why someone from our academy shouldn't come in and do good things.
Yeah, well, there's talk of Hoffenheim, I think, wanting him on loan, and a few Championship clubs, wanting him on loan. Yeah, not Real Madrid or Barcelona.
That's what we're going to see.
So we'll see about that because obviously Amadou Onana went off injured, McGinn's injured, Barkley's injured. Michelle's asked, did I see what happened that caused Onana's injury? I can't remember. It was in there. It was in the build up to their goal, wasn't it? That he went down. I think
he before he got a knock quite a few minutes before he went off. I think he tried to carry on and it didn't quite work out. I do wonder though with Onana, and I love Onana. Don't get me. I'm not going to start jumping on his back because he's been injured a couple of times. It happens in football. But do you wonder if he kind of takes himself out of contention? I kind of got the feeling he said to Unai, I think I'm done, mate. If I'm being honest, I'm not really going to carry on with this anymore. Because I remember when he went off, Unai was asking him, he was like, what's wrong? And he's just like, nah, it's not for me today. But I mean, look, he looked distraught, if I'm being honest, as he come off. He obviously wanted to play the game. These are the kind of games that he wants to play in, the biggest ones. He's got a great attitude. I don't think he did terribly before he came off as well.
No, he did all right.
Hopefully it's not a serious injury, but I think, as everyone says, we want him to be more consistent, and he's had a few injuries and he's been out of the team a little bit. And for 50 million quid, you want him to be, you want him to be one of your main men in there, sort of stalwart in the middle. But it's fine. I'm not.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I don't know whether he might be one of those type of players who needs to be at full condition or at least 95% before he's kind of trusts to play, and then if something does happen, he's like, nah, I don't know if I can carry on. Whereas some players will just play through whatever, the old Stuart Pearce playing with a broken leg thing
before we take themselves out. Who's that?
I think Daniel Sturridge used to be a bit like that, didn't he? That was kind of levelled at him that he
made him Weetabix, mate.
I don't know. There's obviously on the other side, there's players who'll play through anything, but then then anyone who does come off injured kind of gets that labelled at them, don't they? Of a sick note or whatever. But he's obviously took. I'm sure he would have carried on if he could have done. Basically, I'm sure he would have done, and hopefully it's not too serious.
He was head and hands going down the tunnel. I thought he was crying. I mean, look, it's football. These things happen. You can't.
See, Stephen's agreeing with me.
Starting to think Onana's only playing if he's
100%.
But he's. The reality is, Onana's playing if he can. Do you know what I mean? I think there's maybe a pain tolerance that everyone has a different.
Yes, that's what I was saying. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Playing, but I'd rather him say, look, I can't crack on than play with one leg and especially in the midfield. That's
Well,
good.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You don't want him to. Yeah, you don't, because you say in the midfield, if you aren't fully fit and you can't get about the pitch, it's really telling. So
No,
yeah,
and
especially
I
against
think,
Arsenal.
yeah, I was just about to say that. I think I don't know if we'll go on to Arsenal in any more depth, but that one of the things I did take away is that I don't think their team is that good, if I'm being honest. I mean, Trossard is tricky, and they've obviously got nothing up front. You take Saka out there and Saliba out their defense. They don't really look that terrifying. But the one thing that I did notice yesterday is something that I've noticed before when watching games, and that's how good Declan Rice is. Jesus.
Yeah, he had a really good game, didn't he?
Every time I watch him, he does. Even when he was at West Ham, I remember that game we lost 1-0 and we were all over them. Declan Rice was just mopping everything up. He really is a sensational player. Like
Brilliant.
Declan Rice he's a he'll be their captain. I don't see Odegaard being there for much longer. He'll become their captain, and if they have any chance of doing anything, it's going to be with him sort of at the helm, because he's such a unique midfielder. You don't see people that are so big and strong, but he's got great feet and he's like really intelligent, like across the ball. I thought Rice was absolutely brilliant yesterday. I wouldn't mind a bit of Rice in the team. We've got an extra 150 million going.
We'll just slap it down. If Arsenal can just buy Isak when they want, we can buy Rice when we want as well.
Yeah. You spend too much time with Newcastle fans. All your references are Newcastle fans.
So, yeah. So let's talk. Let's talk a player who has now scored double figures in the Premier League in 5 consecutive seasons, Mr. Ollie Watkins. We always talk about him when you're on the podcast. I don't know why.
Yeah, I wonder why. What coincidence. People are going to think it's me that's asking to talk about him.
Yeah, but he sent the away fans into absolute raptures last night. It was just a brilliant moment, and look, really, really nice finish. Stayed in the position, pulled away from Thomas Partey. Obviously, the Arsenal fans are going mad at that. And Paul Merson going mad on Sky Sports. I've seen today about how Partey just let him free, and ball comes down. It's really nice volleyed finish. Two first time finishes in the last 2 games for him, and he was there at the clutch moment, mate, and it was a good finish, good goal. 10 goals in the Premier League now, and hopefully, again, never a criticism. Hopefully, he's on a streak now of goals, and he can keep it going.
Yeah, well, that's purple patch Ollie, right? You got to have the purple patch has got to come eventually. Yeah, I mean, a bizarre goal from Arsenal's point of view, because what Partey does is very obvious to see what he does. He thinks they're holding a line, so he stays up there. Everyone else drops back. A really nice crossing from Matty Cash, actually, because it's literally just over the heads.
On his left foot as well.
Yeah, on his left foot. Do you know what's really funny? I saw one of those YouTube highlight montage reels of the guy who's allegedly coming in to replace him, and he does that a lot. I think because is he left-footed? I don't know, but he has one of a left foot. From what I've seen. And I saw that cross from this guy about 3-4 times. Maybe Matty Cash is watching as well, and he's like, I can do that. But yeah, I think obviously Partey steps off him, Kai Havertz misses the ball, and it kind of drops to Ollie Watkins 5 yards out just to keep it to beat. But I think on the volley, and with Raya sort of so central, I think it's still a really good finish. It's hard for him to... I think he just focused on hitting the target, from being honest.
Yeah.
He was trying to place that.
Which is good, which is what you want to do.
I think it still lofted a bit more than he wanted. I don't think he was aiming to put it into the roof of the net. But Ollie Watkins, again, remaining a thorn in the side of Arsenal, as you say, he sent the away fans into pandemonium, as he always does at the Emirates. Yeah, I mean, it's a really important goal. I think we were talking about this earlier. I think his overall game was very quiet. We've done a whole stat check on him in the thing. What do we say? 7 passes, 1 successful take on.
It's 23 touches or something. Yeah,
1
shot on target, 1 shot off target, and a blocked shot.
Yeah, 7 passes in the whole game, 23 touches in the whole game. Let's be honest, he didn't have a superb game, but when the moment came and he needed to he needed to bury that chance. He did it, and he got Villa back into the game. And obviously, it means a lot to him. And I think it's one of them. I think it's tough because obviously Ollie Watkins is, he's done well in getting the goal. I asked the question, or I said, would we have, what kind of position would we have been in? And if Duran, I asked you the question, do you think Duran misses that? Absolutely not. But a few of the other pieces of play in the game earlier, would Duran have been better suited? So I think that is the debate at the moment. Do you stick with Ollie, or do you play Duran? And I think we're actually in a really, really positive and blessed position that we have two strikers who are really pushing each other, and they know they're pushing each other as well. Like, people are asking them about it. Everyone knows.
Well, he said he didn't want to come off, did he? And he's like,
Yeah.
we can play together. So
yeah. And I still think that's the best play, is to, if you want to have them both on at the same time, push Watkins out to the left wing, because his hold up play is really good, and he can feed the ball into Duran. I did say that as well yesterday. I think Ollie Watkins' runs were really good. Arsenal, obviously, they've got PTSD with Watkins, so they had two centre backs on him. It was two men on him the whole time, and maybe that is why he was more sort of ineffective when he did get the ball, and why he didn't see as much of the ball, because he was getting crowded out. And that's just Arsenal keeping him quiet. But obviously, he needs to find the space and come short if he needs to, and bring himself into the game somehow. But yeah, it's a really strange place to be. We've got, I was thinking about this earlier. It's so relative. Like, a few years ago, no one would have sniffed at Ollie Watkins being Villa's main striker because of the level that he was at and where we were at as well as a club. Like, what our ambitions were, what our targets were for the season. Ollie Watkins was, was perfect for that. And I think now we're also in a great position, because when Ollie Watkins is on form and when he's in that purple patch, he will get you a lot of goals, and that's exactly what we need. But at least now, when he's out of form, when he's not in that purple patch, we have a viable option to bring on and someone to compete with him and say, well, look, if you're not scoring for 2, 3, 4 games, on your bike, mate, Duran's going to come in and he's going to take his chance. And, I do feel bad for him, because if he hadn't got sent off against Newcastle, and let's be honest, it wasn't really a sending off, was it?
No.
But if he hadn't got sent off, he'd probably still be in the team.
He would, and you know what? We were, a lot of people saying we were playing very well at that point against Newcastle. So look, it's ifs and buts, isn't it? But yeah, it's funny now, because he's going to have to work, which is, it's a great position for Unai Emery. Like, he's going to have to work his way back into the team. So you're thinking maybe Tuesday against Monaco, Duran might get his start. That gives him extra motivation to score, to get us into the qualifying in that top 8, which is a benefit for everyone.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's a weird one, because personally, I would have played Duran against Everton, because it's a game we should definitely win. I don't think, and the reason I say he should have played Duran is for 2 reasons. One, to give him some more game time for the time when you need him. If Ollie Watkins gets injured, you don't want him coming on cold, not having played in 2 months, or playing 7-8 minutes or whatever. You want to give him some game time. And secondly, just keep him happy. Keep him happy, because my thing, Ollie Watkins will stay. He's not going anywhere. But Duran is one of those where he's a really, really good talent, and he can do like incredible things with football. Like, things that no one here is going to argue Ollie Watkins can do, because he just doesn't. Like, Duran's scored more goals from outside the box this season than Ollie Watkins has in five years of Villa. Like, he has a different skill set, which is fine. And I think, but Duran is more likely to say, well, look, if you're not playing me, I'm going to go, mate. And I really don't want to be in that position, because I really like him. I think he could go on to be like a really dangerous striker, one of the top strikers in Europe. He just, a lot of people compare him to Balotelli. I think that's a bit harsh. But it is what it is. And I think, if Watkins is firing, brilliant. Get Duran on, let him play some games. You need to rotate anyway with a number of games. We've still got the FA Cup. We've still got the Champions League. We've still got the Premier League. And what's really important as well is that from what I've seen from the coefficient, the European coefficient, is that 5th will get the Champions League this year in the Premier League. So all we need to do is get top 5. And if we can push on all fronts, you need to rotate. you have to rotate. You cannot leave the same players in time and time again. But to be fair to Unai, he did try to rotate a left back against us. It didn't go that well for him, so fair enough.
Yeah, we might come to that in a second. But Drista said it looks like Watkins is overthinking stuff. His movement with the ball in the box and his finishing don't look so fluid as last season. Hopefully he'll find his confidence and get his groove back. Well, look, 2 goals in his last 2. Hopefully, gets that moving again. And you could see the weight off his shoulder, lifted off his shoulders against Everton with that finish, particularly after the miss in the first half, and then the goal yesterday was a real key moment, and that's what you want, and that's what we've been calling for. The goals at the key moments from Watkins, which is so important. Which is so important.
He does like a goal against Arsenal, and I think
that makes it even sweeter as well.
He loves it, and everyone's saying, Watkins, he's back, he's this. He was about to get taken off. Can we bear in mind Watkins at Duran ready, kitted out, ready to go, because he hadn't been great up until that point. But like you say, when those moments come, that's when you want your boy on point, and that's when you want him to take the chances. And I think against Everton, he was sort of gifted because Pickford was in absolute no man's land.
Yeah.
What the hell he was doing, and he was gifted again yesterday with Thomas Partey again being in no man's land. But you have to be in those positions in order to capitalise. You do, and you have to put the ball in the back of the net. So the credit that he deserves. I'm not overthinking it. I'm not underplaying it either. It's a good goal. I still think his overall performance yesterday probably needed some improvement, and he'll be focused on that, and he'll be conscious of the fact that he was going to be taken off before he scored as well. But absolutely brilliant, and I'm very happy for all of the Watkins believers and everyone who wanted him to do well. But more importantly, I'm just happy for Villa, mate. I'm happy
and he's six goals away from breaking that record, Gabby Agbonlahor. So
is he only 6 away?
Yeah, he's 6 away now. Yeah,
poor Gabby. Yeah. Wasn't even put on the 150 years anniversary. Do you know what? I think we're disrespectful to Gabby. I know we can have this conversation another time, but poor bloke, he bleeds claret and blue. Like
he does, and the amount of derby goals he got. But
he's always backing us on. He's the only sort of mainstream media voice who's constantly backing us, and I don't know.
Yeah. But also thank you, Ollie, for giving us an amazing away day celebration as well. And I was in the crowd there trying to get him going as well. Got to get that picture in there again.
Where's the badge? Get the badge
in. Another player who I wanted to highlight as well who's been instrumental in this kind of turnaround, not a sort of turnaround in form, but just consistency in performance and character and resilience and leadership, is Tyrone Mings. And that kind of partnership again of Mings and Konsa at the back, and I guess Emi Martinez behind them, is that kind of triangle has given us a real stability. And we've again said this on this podcast so many times about the leadership and the talking and the voice that you need on the pitch. If it's encouraging the players, if it's having a go at the players, if it's getting in the face or getting in the ear of the opposition. And Tyrone Mings is just everything of that and more, because particularly in the game on Wednesday, and I didn't notice it as much yesterday, but I'm sure he was doing it. It's just the amount of headers this guy wins. When balls go in the box, the headers he wins, the blocks he gets, the clearances he puts in. He is such a mountain at the back for us, and it's no coincidence that we've started to, pick up these results with him back in the team.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Do you want my honest appraisal of Mings, or do you want the party line?
Would you not think he's been very good?
No. I'm like, it's. Oh. There's a devil's advocate to throw in there.
Okay.
So, can you also confirm for the viewers what I said in the chat about a week ago about Tyrone Mings, where I said all praise Tyrone. He could have come back, and he could have taken a while to bed back in, but he's been absolutely superb since he's been back.
Yes, he did say that.
And I said that a week ago to the boys, and I was like, do you know what? Especially losing Pau Torres, Mings has come back in, just been absolutely sensational. Back to his best from before he got injured. But First of all, I agree with you. His defensive work is superb. The way that he marshals that back line, the way that he talks, the way that he backs Konsa as well. He's always like bigging him up and saying, you know, like whenever he does anything good, really, really like brilliant. And defensively, I think he's superb. He's significantly better than Pau Torres from a defensive perspective. That being said,
attack on the ball.
He's a little bit lax on the ball, mate. He does give the ball away a lot. And the thing is, I remember when Unai Emery first came in and I saw the way that we were playing at the back and I said, Tyrone Mings is never going to be able to play this kind of football. And he absolutely proved me wrong. His short passing is brilliant. You know, his sort of delivery out, even a couple of times he kind of pushed the ball, ran with it for another 10, 15, 20 yards. He's been, you know, he's been so much better than I ever thought he could be as a ball-playing centre-back. And I really mean that. And it's not supposed to be a dig, but he surprised me with how well he's been able to adapt to that system. That being said, when he's under a little bit of pressure, you know how we play tight at the back and you play those little triangles, it's just not his game, mate. It's just not his game. And I think against Arsenal in the first half, when we were seriously under pressure, I think by the 10th minute, we've had 11% possession. We haven't touched the ball. And every time we have touched the ball, it's been Mings giving the ball away. And I'll disagree. I don't think it's because he's casual. I think it's because he can't play at that pace, that kind of passing.
Yeah, it's that first touch. It's actually not the first touch. It's the body position that you get into to allow yourself, to allow your first touch to take it exactly where you want to go. Like Grealish in his prime at Villa, I'm talking about Grealish again, but Grealish in his prime at Villa would take the ball with him, and Morgan Rogers does this when he's in full flow. His body position, when he receives the ball, he takes it in his stride, and that first touch takes him away from the defender rather than controlling the ball and then taking it, which is a split second, but it makes all the difference. Pau Torres is a bit like that. His body position gets him into a point where he's already blocking off the defender and he knows exactly where he's going to go with the ball. Whereas Mings, he controls it, and then he does this kind of like, it's not a laboured, but it's like the way he brings the ball round, and it's a little bit kind of.
He takes time.
Yeah, it's not casual, but it's like a drag with the ball rather than like a positive touch. And if you're dragging it, you can get tackled, or it can get stuck under your feet, or it goes somewhere where you don't expect it to go. He does it all the time.
He projects massively as well, Mings. Like, you know, from his body, like exactly where he's going to go. You know, he's going to push it out and take that big step. And because he's got such long legs, he can sweep it left and right. But I saw David Fox in the chat earlier say that you know, Mings will get better over time. With the best will in the world, mate, he won't. He's 31. He's not learning a different way to play. I think he already has got better. I think that's the point. This is him adapting to the system, and I think it's one of those where, for what he brings to the team, I think it's worth having in way more than what I think it's, because one of the things that I've noticed as well is that, you know, that looping ball over the top that's killed us all the time. Those are getting pushed back a lot more, and even if you get one does come through or whatever, it's not really the be all and end all, because Mings is lapping them up, 6'5", jumping in the air, and he's bringing so much into the team. I just think on that left hand side, we maybe want to think of a different way of playing. That being said, I think it's just his short passing is brilliant. I think it's just that when he gets under pressure, this is us doing like an analysis.
Hypercritical. I appreciate it. I agree. I absolutely agree. It's like there's that kind of slight negative, but it's the positives of his other attributes, and also Konsa's a better defender. Konsa's better at the minute when Mings is next to him, and whether that's to do with the talking, whether that's to do with the partnership, I don't know, but he's better. And also, Arsenal had 10 corners yesterday, and I don't recall them being hyper threatening on any of those corners. Whereas if Pau Torres is defending corners, and it's Torres and Carlos at the back, we're all at sea when the ball goes in the box.
Mate, is it just me, or have Arsenal just turned into like balls into the box merchants? It's like playing Tony Pulis' Stoke. It's absolutely depressing to watch. They are not a good attacking team. because they don't have that. Their finishing was awful. And I just think the way that they play football, it's just get the ball into the box, get Trossard and get the ball in the box, and or like hope for a deflection and see what happens. Go to the edge of the box, see who's there. I think we handled them extremely well, considering that we've conceded more set pieces than anyone else bar one other team, and they've scored significantly more than anyone else. It was a match. It was a match made in heaven for Arsenal. They were probably sitting there licking their lips, and the amount of corners they got in the first 5 minutes as well. They had about 15 before kickoff had even happened. But yeah, I think Tyrone Mings just offers something so fundamental to Villa that we don't. You talk about football basics, football fundamentals. He is football fundamentals at the back. Get the ball out, get rid of it. Put in a block, hold it, make sure that the rest of the defense is in a line. Ezri Konsa, bless him, I've been his biggest fan since you know this. You've been doing this.
Yeah.
I've never criticised. He's not at the top of his game this season. I'm not going to lie. He's not that brick wall that he was last season and the seasons before. But I think that confidence of having Mings next to him, and that exactly what Davis just said, that leadership to just say, "Come on, this is what we're doing." I think that makes a massive difference. And one thing I did notice as well. Am I right in saying Emmy's captain was?
Yeah, Emmy's captain. Yeah,
you need to have an on-field captain, because when those decisions are going the other way, you need someone who's on the pitch to go and talk to the ref and say and argue the case, because we are getting absolutely dominated vocally. But you still see Mings coming and trying to act like a captain in the middle.
Yeah, 100%. Well, that's a really nice segue into the next point about kind of decisions, the referee. The linesman, some of the decisions, and again, it's difficult to see in the ground, but there was a couple of times where we were literally on the attack, and the foul was clearly on. I think there might have been one on Morgan Rogers and maybe one on Yuri Tielemans.
One on Cash.
On who? Sorry,
Matty Cash.
And he gave the foul to Arsenal. I'm like, we had the ball. How was it a foul against us? And some of the corners that were given that clearly hit the Arsenal player. Just some bizarre decisions yesterday. It was, and you think all those things add up, don't they, to the momentum that Arsenal. And then you've got to defend that moment. You've got to be more. It adds more tension. It was a really strange performance from the referee.
Yeah, no, I thought it was really nice of them to bring Tony Adams back to ref the game, actually. I thought that was such a class for Arsenal. Arsene Wenger running the lines, Mike Keown there as well. I didn't understand what he was doing. I didn't get it. I was like, he wasn't even being sort of surreptitious about the way he was favouring up. And the most funny thing, and I'm sure we'll come on to it, is the way that the Arsenal fans at the end of the game have said, "Oh, the ref has screwed us over. There's an agenda again." He literally gave us nothing, not a sniff. He didn't even give us the handball. That was VAR. You can see it in real time. Marino's shot's going that way. Havertz spikes the ball up like he's playing volleyball in the other direction. You can see the move from the ball, the motion of the ball, and he's just like, "Looks good to me. Let's move on." Are we past watershed? What can I say about him?
You can say what you want, mate.
All right, absolute master prick. I've never seen anything like it. He's the worst ref. That's the worst referee performance I've seen all season. And what I loved and what made me laugh, my favourite bit of the whole game, was Morgan Rogers getting booked for telling him he was shit.
So many comments coming in. So many comments coming in.
No, but the thing is, he was right. Just before he said it, I said it. I sat with my missus and I'm like, "This ref is shit." I was like, "I've never seen anything like this."
He just seemed to lose his. I don't know what it was. Whether he lost his composure, whether he just lost his mind in certain decisions and just thought, "Oh well, I'll just go with whatever. I'll just go with Arsenal." Like, it just seems so strange.
I think it's more nefarious than that, if I'm being honest, Rich. That seemed intentional. It wasn't like he lost control of the game or he didn't really know what was going on. Blatant fouls against Villa. And every single time that happened, nothing. And the smallest thing goes against Villa. Well, blow it up, yellow card, blow it up. Booking Unai Emery for kicking a ball. He's not going to be on the touchline against West Ham because he booked Unai Emery for kicking a.
I didn't see that.
He booked Unai Emery for passing the ball back, and that's it. He's got a touchline ban now. He won't be on the side for West Ham. What are you doing? What are you doing? Yeah. Unai Emery, what's he doing? That's exactly what I was saying, Tombo. He didn't even overturn it. The VAR told him you have to overturn that because it's a handball. Absolutely shocking, horrible display. It's like when you're watching it on TV and everyone in the studio is just they're almost disappointed that Arsenal didn't win. That's how he felt at the end of the game. I saw him blow his whistle. He just kind of dropped. He was half ready to celebrate that Marino goal. I'll tell you what. Do you remember what was his name? Oh, the ball guy when Spurs scored against us and he ran around.
Yeah, he was like, yes. Yeah. What was his name? Because he gave the advantage. Yeah.
Right, Dean, and he was like celebrating. I was half expecting to see that. Horrible referee.
It was terrible. I remember just a couple where we were like on the attack. I think someone was about to shoot or pass or something, and somehow he gave a foul to Arsenal. I was just like, how is this guy refereeing? It was ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Arsenal, obviously, you touched on it there, saying that they were robbed of the victory. It was, clear handball. But Mikel Arteta, again, in his post-match, very sort of, obviously he's quite bullish in his, bordering on sort of deluded a lot of the time, in my opinion. But I don't know, it's just like, if the shoe was on the other foot and Villa were 2-0 and they got it back to 2-2, it would be, as Unai Emery said, character resilience, etc., etc. But he's just like, my players were fantastic. We just deserve to win this game. It was as if like Villa just weren't in the game, and it was like, I don't. There's absolutely no mention. He said they were playing against a good team. He didn't mention the players or the Aston Villa by name. He didn't mention the manager. Like nothing. And it's just like, how is this guy? He's just so deluded. I just can't I can't deal with him. He's a horrible, horrible manager.
I think honestly, it's hard to. Again, sort of
without swearing.
Without swearing, Mikel Arteta is a really, really strange guy because, I didn't like him as a player. When he was at Everton, I didn't like Mikel Arteta. There's just something about he's got a really punchable face, doesn't he? He's just like, I don't like the way he talks about the game. I don't like the way he talks about Arsenal. I don't like the way that even the way that he acts on the touchline. Like, I know he's the manager of Arsenal Football Club. It's a pretty big job. It's one of the biggest jobs in any industry. But he goes on like he's president of the United States. Honestly, I'm half expecting him to come out with like a "Make Arsenal Great Again" hat. And
they had them. They have them.
That's embarrassing because I was joking. But I don't like the self-importance. Do you know what he not just him. I don't know if he has infected the Arsenal fans or the Arsenal fans have infected him, but they are so entitled. And I've got to be careful here because my wife's an Arsenal fan and all of my extended family subsequently are Arsenal fans. But when it comes to football, I've never met an Arsenal fan that I like. Do you know what I mean? I've never had a conversation with an Arsenal fan. Do you know what? You make some really good points, mate. I like your opinions and your views, but they are. I don't know. They're just one of them. They think he's the second best manager in the league because he pushed City twice. It's delusional. And it's one of those things where you watch their fans a lot. How is that handball? It's like, well, it's hit his hand. No. What do you mean no? It's there. It's facts. It's like you can't. It's not an opinion anymore.
You can't argue. You can't have you can't have a discussion about it. It's not even an argument. You can't have a discussion with them. Yeah, it's like there's no point in asking him any questions because he's not going to give you an answer that is going to encourage any sort of conversation. It's literally just a denial of the truth. It's like we were so good. I don't know how we didn't win, and if we play, it's just there's just no acknowledgement of the opposition that you're coming up against, no acknowledgement of the players, of the quality of the players that you're against. It's just everything was them, and they should have won.
I'll tell you a tweet that, cause obviously I like grew up for the latter stages of my childhood in North London, so a lot of my mates are Arsenal fans and Spurs fans. And one of my mates texted me yesterday and said, the only thing that's annoyed me is dropping points to the worst side to come to the carpet this year. It's just like you say, complete denial of everything that we do well. They don't understand that it's possible to have a lot of the ball and to not be dominating. So, do you know what I mean? Like, they had a lot of the ball, but like you said earlier, they weren't particularly threatening. They had like loads of corners, but none of those corners were particularly threatening. Apart from Trossard sort of having Matty Cash on toast a couple of times, like they weren't.
Yeah.
I didn't look at Arsenal, and I said this at the start of the podcast, I didn't look at Arsenal and think, here's a team of just like insane quality. And every single time that we play Arsenal, I see us getting a result because they play with an arrogance as well. They play with like an entitlement about, well, we should win this game. But the big thing for me is the delusion to say, the refs have robbed us. Have you watched the game? Because he gave every single decision to you. Like he might as well have been wearing an Arsenal kit. Or one of those make Arsenal great again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what more do you want him to do? Like pick the ball up and throw it into the net for you? Like, there's only so much they can do. They never question themselves and say, actually, do you know what? We weren't good enough today, or we
exactly.
Or it's just straight to Kai Havertz is crap. We haven't bought a striker. We haven't spent 800 million quid in the last few years. What are you talking about? And then
it's we'll just slap 30 million and we'll get John Duran.
Yeah. That one wound me up. That fat Malteser. Honestly, he does my nutting. He does my nutting. And then it's like the argument for how much money they spend is, everyone spent that much money. Look at Liverpool. Liverpool spent that money. Yeah, they won a Champions League and the Premier League. Do you know what I mean? At least they've done something with it. No one spends 800 million quid to still be shit. Anyway, this is personal for me.
Yeah. Let's move on. I will say, I agree with. Where's the comment? I agree with Rachel. Dan Potts on 12th Man. He's an absolute fair and good Arsenal fan, and I get on really well with Dan. He's been on our channel. I've been on his channel.
I haven't seen him, so I'm not. This is obviously generalisation. I'm sure there's loads. I have loads of my mates are Arsenal fans, and I'm just talking about
the text that you received or the WhatsApp message you received sums up a large proportion of their fan base. Yeah, so we'll go with that quote. Yeah, we'll go with that quote. But yeah, I think that kind of sums the game. I wanted to cover those points really about some of the players that deserved some real praise. The whole sort of character of the team, I think, was brilliant. I don't really want to single out any players, in terms of bad performances. I think you mentioned Maatsen, it probably not being the game for him in that first half. Dina came on and proved, real solid substitution, and that's sometimes what you need in games. It's been the other way around where Maatsen has changed the game when he's been brought on as substitute. I thought Ramsey probably could have got involved in the game a little bit more. But other than that, in terms of work, endeavour and effort, I think every player gave it. So, yeah, I don't want to sort of be too hypercritical. And, yeah, in terms of the referee, in terms of the Arsenal, I think we had a bit to get off our chest there. But, guys, thank you. I think we'll call it a night there, mate. It's great. Just to sum up, though, yeah, I think just a really nice... what's the word? Really good to see that type of Aston Villa, like to come back from 2-0 down away at Arsenal is. I just really, really enjoyed seeing that Aston Villa, that side of Aston Villa coming through, and whether it was Yuri Tielemans like inspiring it, or whether it's Tyrone Mings with his leadership, or Ollie Watkins with the finish. It's just good to see that going now into the second half of the season, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think we've always said that on this pod. Even if we'd lost that game yesterday, I think I would have still taken a lot away from it, from the fact that we kept our heads up, we kept going, and the players obviously gave everything. And I think that's the standard. It's not necessarily about getting a result or getting a win. It's about never letting your heads drop, that resilience character to just say, you know what, boys, we're going to keep going for the entirety of the game, and not really, like a couple of times against Newcastle, we kind of let the game get away from us and heads drop, and that does happen sometimes. But I think that's the big takeaway from it yesterday. I think everyone, didn't have a terrible. I think everyone was like at least a 6 out of 10 yesterday. Even Maatsen, like, he had a hard time against Martinelli, but I think going forward he was really good.
Yeah,
really,
yeah, could have scored.
Could have scored. I think what did he had a shot and then there was a deflection. Did it go to someone? I don't know.
It was. I know he from where we were. He's put through and then he got it on target. I think maybe could have been a little bit better. I think it parried out from the goalkeeper. I don't know if it was maybe in the direction of Watkins, but I think they might have got a clearance on it from what I remember.
I think, but even so, I think just to go back to your original point, I think it's just nice to see that kind of resilience, that character, and for Villa fans as well. There's nothing worse than being 2-0 down in the first half of the game and knowing it's over, but still having to watch it. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh God, I've got 60 minutes left of this. I know we're not coming back into it. That, as a fan, that's what you want, that possibility that anything can happen and your team can still come back. So I think first and foremost, brilliant result. Really good to get a point, a good place to go away and get a point. And by the end of it, I was like, you know what, I'll take a point. I was hoping we'd nick a win.
I'm me.
But I was like, you know what, I'll take the game now. I'll take the point. And it's obviously great for you guys who went and did the away day to have another night taking a piss out of Arsenal fans. That's always fun, isn't it?
Exactly. And long may it continue. Guys, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. Over 250 of you on a Sunday night is amazing. Please do smash that like button and hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and help us continue to grow. We're past 5,000 now, which is amazing. We want to hit that 10k mark as soon as possible. So please do help us by supporting us, by liking and subscribing. We'll be back with preview for Monaco on Tuesday in the Champions League, fans forum and match reaction on Tuesday as well, hopefully with another special guest. So we will reveal more on that soon, and also talking tactics with Gareth to come as well. So make sure you stay tuned to the channel, keep your eyes out for the shows. Thank you, Sam. Thank you everyone for watching, and as always, remember, we all follow the Villa.